you guys, this is Orsi and this is going to be my 1 month with the Wildwood Tarot because that was my deck for the month in October. So as you guys know, if you're subscribed to my channel, I had this deck for a while now, and I started the year in the Wildwood study in this year's, in February, on the 1st of February. But had to stop because I just simply didn't have time to do the work, and it was disappointing, but what can you do? This is life. But I still wanted to work with this deck, so it was still chosen previously to be part of my 12 decks for 12 months selection or group or whatever. So, we're only like 2 months left, so this was the October, was it? Yeah, it's November right now, okay. So this was my October deck. As you can see, I finally did what I meant to do for a while now. I trimmed the deck and etched it to this green that matches the back. Obviously, it would be nice if the white wouldn't be there because it's not, the same. But I was thinking about spray painting the whole, like the bags, the whole deck to some sort of a dark green, but I like this tree, so I kind of don't want to do it. I don't really that bothered by this one, especially because I don't do reversals, so for me it's not a problem if I see the orientation of the cards, but for someone who works with the reversals, this would be an absolute hell because you can easily tell which card is which way. So, if you're thinking about that, maybe rebacking the deck would help. I also left the titles because the keywords are often, obviously not right now, but look at that. Three of Stones, which is the Three of Pentacles, is creativity. It's not teamwork, which isn't, or not working well with others. That's usually the keyword for the standard RWS, because this is not an RWS deck. I'm still a bit like put off by trying to put this deck into the system. I understand because hey, if we just pretend that this deck has a system that can work for other people, for people who are working with the regular system, we can sell more copies. People are not going to be so afraid to pick up a copy. I understand, but at the same time, it's just silly because like the Three of Bows, which is the Three of Wands, is fulfillment. It's not starting the journey. It's not like stepping onto the path you've chosen previously in the Two of Wands. It's something else, not entirely, but it's different and it's good. I mean, I love that. So. Yeah, so I definitely was one of the reasons why I kept the titles, because it's not something that I can just guess by looking at this card. If I look at this card, this is the Three of Wands, Three of Bows. I would imagine something like protecting your choices, like standing your ground, which is the Nine of Wands in a way, but hey, it could be. But definitely not fulfillment. I don't get fulfillment from the image alone, so I need the keywords. That's one of the things. And while I was using the deck, I was trying to, at first, I think in the first week, I was leaning more into, okay, this is the Six of Arrows, Six of Swords. What does the Six of Swords mean? In this transition, it kind of, matches it. But my first thought when pulling a card was, what was the regular meaning for the card? But after a while, like a week or so, I was like, that makes no sense. Then I'm still trying to, push this deck into the shape that it doesn't fit. So after that, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to make a note about the Six of Arrows, but I'm going to more so think about the keyword. So I was working with... okay, not with the swan, because you had to read the swan, what it means, but like for the Four of Stones, it's protection. It's the Four of Pentacles has that element of staying in a place where you're protected, but it's not the main keyword for that card either. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just think about what protection means, and then read the book, obviously the guidebook. The guidebook is really good. I didn't have time to read the year in the Wildwood entries as well, so I will do that at some other time. Fortunately, I found my notebook that I started when we started the Wildwood study deck study deck study, because I lost that notebook, I think after the first 3 months. It turns out it was behind my shelf, which was interesting. But anyway, I found it, so I can, continue and add notes, because I already had really good notes in that, so I didn't want to like restart the whole process. That was one of the reasons why I stopped doing the year-long study. But I don't have to, because I found it. So yeah, I just look at that 7 of arrows, insecurity. It's not like her posture is nothing about insecurity. So sometimes the art is not correlating, or at least not for me, not connecting with the keywords, which is quite interesting. I love the artwork. One of the reasons was why I wanted this one is because I love the artwork more on this deck, on the Wildwood, than on the other Worthington illustrated decks, which is like, what the hell? I'm like, again, it's the same deck, and I forgot his name twice within a month. So that is interesting that it's not Druidcraft. For some reason, I keep forgetting the name. Very, very interesting, because I didn't have any problem with that previously. 5 of arrows, frustration. That's a very good card for the keyword. So not everything is disconnected, because this is like you're trying to find your target, which is like an animal, but hey, it's a world where people hunt, so let's not pretend it's not part of the existence. And you have that 1 arrow and 1 last chance to find your target, and the frustration that I need to find it, it's my last chance and stuff like that. So I still one of my favorite star card. So yeah, I didn't have time to renumber the majors yet, but I'm definitely going to do that. I think what I'm gonna do is sit down first and come up with a system, and see if the numbers that way correlate for me, or it's if it adds more confusion to the cards, because I'm thinking about sectioning them off in a way how they are put on the wheel of the year. So like there are time of the arrows, and then there would be like 1, 2, 3, 4 the times of the arrows, or something like that, or zeros, or whatever. But if it's too confusing on paper, like how it looks, too much similarity in numbers or something like that, and then I might just simply where's a major card, just cover the number and just leave the green man, and make a chart for myself separately. And when I work with this deck, I just pull out the chart and look it up where the card is supposed to be on the wheel, if I can't replace it in a not too annoying way. We will see. But yeah, that's the plan. Look at the smiling fox. I like the smaller size. I have small hands, so it's so much easier to shuffle the cards. I think it's still shuffleable, riffle shuffle style. Yeah. So I can bring it back. It's too stiff for me, but it's possible to just do that. It doesn't look, I mean, for here this way it doesn't look bad at all. You can see how similar the colors of the cards are. It's not as distinctive without the borders, so that it could be something that you need to be mindful of, because sometimes borders add to the way it makes the card less busy, because these are very detailed illustrations, so some people might prefer them with the border. But for me, most of it, or the bigger part of the reason why I wanted to trim it was the size, because I need to make decks more comfortable for myself to use, because otherwise I'm not using them, and then what's the point? So yeah, the guidebook is, like I said, fantastic. I didn't do oracles. I've kind of realized now that we're nearing the 12 month that I prefer when I do studies like this, when I want to work with a deck dedicated for a month, which I mostly just pull a card in the morning and see how it shows up, or if it doesn't necessarily show up, then what I think about the card. But there are cards that there were days when I was like, well, how could this card show up for me? And then the day progressed and I was like, oh no, and I wasn't thinking about it, just something happened, and then I was like, aha, okay, now I understand. So one of the things that I want to do at the end of the year is to see and go back and check all the notes, because I made notes of, obviously which card I pulled for each day. I sometimes added notes, but I tried not to overcomplicate things, so not to stop myself from actually working and, doing these daily pulls. But I want to see which card was the most pulled this year, because I wanted to do this 2 years ago already, but then I lost count on, because I was too ambitious back then, and I wanted to count every video, every reading that I did for other people, for myself, and just counting the cards that showed up, and that was just too much, because who has time to go back and make a note about all the cards when you're doing pick a card readings with 3 or 4 piles and 6 or 7 decks. That's just, I didn't have the time, so I stopped doing that. But with the daily cards, I think it's it's much more easier, because I just have to go check 12 months worth of days, so that's not as complicated. And sometimes I missed pulling a card because I wasn't able to, or if I sometimes it's very interesting, because I think that I pull a card for a day, then the next day when I go and write that day's card in the notebook, I'm like, how did I miss yesterday? I had the card, and then I look at the card the 2 days before, and that was the card that I thought that I pulled for the second day. So it's like sometimes time just skips, I swear. Well, whatever, that's just my issue with time. But yeah, so this is still a wonderful deck. It still requires you to work with it, but I think what you have to do is don't get imitated by the fact that this is not a regular RWS deck. Just like let that one thing go, and let the worry that, oh my god, this is something different, how am I gonna use it? It's just different. It's not necessarily more difficult to use. You just have to make some notes for yourself, I think, and then you're good to go. The guidebook is amazing, definitely worth reading everything that's in it. But like I said, you can make notes, and if you have a chart that you make yourself for basic meanings or keywords for each cards that you can refer, you can use as a reference while you're working with the deck. I think it's, you can easily pick up everything quite quickly. But if you just, think about it, oh, I'm gonna use it in RWS deck, you can, because you have the titles, but I think you're missing out. I think it's a waste of energy, because you're not gonna connect to the real depth, the real meaning, the real knowledge that the deck has. So yeah, I think I would recommend this, to be honest, to anybody. I wasn't sure if I would recommend this to a newbie, but I would be just like, hey, just know this has its own system, and if you work with this as a first deck and you learn the system, it's amazing. But if once you want to switch to other decks, you will have to learn a lot and unlearn things in a way, to be able to work with a different deck. But it's just you have to have that information, and then you can decide which way you want to start. But I still think it's a great deck, and I still think that Knight of Stones, like, do you think about the Knight of Stones as a horse that looks like jumping? Because no, horse is, I mean, on the regular one, a knight obviously sits on a horse, but that horse is going slowly. And if I think about a wild horse, I think about power. I think about speed and not being uncontrolled in a way, you know, not what I think about the Knight of Pentacles. So these are interesting things, but this is how we learn. So yeah, I think that is all. I don't remember if there's anything else that I can mention about this deck, just that I still recommend it, I still like it, and I still have to work with it for sure. But yeah, this was all, and thank you so much for being here. Hope this was useful. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Those all help my channel. Share it with other people that you think might benefit from watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!